everyone, and welcome to Zest to Zen with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today, I am excited to welcome Ariane Vera, a 3-time TEDx speaker, author of 9 books, with her 10th on the way. Wow. The founder of the Journal of a Healer, a platform helping people define and live their unique definition of success. And I'm sure much, much more. If you've seen her content, she is very active and very inspiring. And I know her journey has taken her from the European Parliament and startups in Germany and Mexico, where she transformed communities, launched a UN-partnered radio show, and developed her signature method for dissolving limiting beliefs. Wow. And I know through her work, she empowers others to uncover our inner colors, which I am really excited to find out more about, and weave them into every part of our life, crafting a version of success that is deeply personal, inspired, and vibrant. Her journey is a testament to what happens when we choose authenticity over achievement, inner truth over external validation. I don't know about you, but I am super excited to welcome her. Welcome.
Thank you so much for that introduction as well. Thank you for your words. I don't know if you know that feeling, but when you live through your own life, it just feels all so colorful, but sometimes also chaotic and messy, and you're just trying to figure things out. And you just gave so many beautiful words to my story, and it just sounded so smooth and just gave it more meaning. And I'm just really excited to be here. Thank you so much for that introduction, and I'm so ready to share and hope to encourage and inspire everyone who's listening. So thank you.
Well, you definitely will do that, because I know Miss Poetic herself, and that's a really big compliment hearing that from you, because I know that just from the interactions we've had so far, when you send me your messages, it's not just a message, it's something that's really felt. So I wanted to honor that back to you. And I've got so many things I'm really curious about. But let's first start, as we've just talked about vibrancy and just the loveliness of color, inner colors. Let's talk about that.
I love that. So inner colors, that idea arrived about 5 years ago, and it was actually a photo that my dad sent me, and I was years old. That picture showed me sitting in front of the terrace and just painting, and I was so much in my own world, and I was just painting with watercolors, and I remembered that feeling. And then suddenly I realized, hey, isn't that what life is about? Every one of us has this unique set of inner colors, and our homework in this life is to connect with that set and share it on the canvas called life, and painting something that reflects who we truly are, and painting our own version of success. And why do we even try so hard to fit into someone else's painting or to copy someone else's painting? Why do we listen to voices that tell us, oh no, but that inner color is too bright or too pastel or too whatever? Why don't we just, like, I saw myself, my younger me, just being so happy in her own world with her own inner colors. Why don't we do that every single day and remember that every single human being is so unique? Let's just paint whatever we want to paint.
Oh wow, that's just beautiful, and it just literally sums up what I just said about you and your poetic words. Wow. I also know that that's absolutely beautiful, by the way. I also know that journaling is a big part of your life, and correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the limiting beliefs, if you like, you can explain it a little bit more, but would you say that often through journaling, maybe intentional journaling, that this is where they're often uncovered?
Definitely. I see journaling as well. There are several methods, and I see 3 main ones. One is a Dear Diary journaling, free writing, and we just let our heart speak and our truth speak, and we write, and then suddenly, you probably know that feeling. You just look at your own words and think, wow, I didn't even know that was inside me, and you feel so much better after. And then there is a prompt or journal prompt way of writing. So you get a prompt and you get to reflect on what you're grateful for or what you want to experience experience in the next 3 years, something that's more guided. And then I discovered that there's a third way, which is the more analytical way. And what I do is literally, I have 3 columns in my journal. The first one is for the day, like I just write down the date. Then the second one is for an event that happened, both comfortable and uncomfortable. So everything that I'm also like, that triggers me, that is actually where I want to dive in. Yeah. And then the third one is for the inner color. So if I realize, okay, that's something that triggered me, I try to see why it triggered me. What is the belief that's behind that trigger? How is it connected to my inner color or one of my inner colors? How does it also show me that I have to protect a certain inner color in a better way, or all of my inner colors? How does it remind me that I have to prioritize who I truly am in my decisions? And that's what I do every day, because I realized if we look at how we hold ourselves back, if we recognize that and remove it, we can do so much more than we think we're capable of.
Oh, absolutely. And even the whole, like, when we think we have like this dirty secret or something, the moment we own it, which means, you don't have to go on to social media and just be like, guess what, guys, by the way, that no one has any power over us anymore. Because if I can say that was an element of me, that was a part of me, and so okay, you had this judgment now of me, but who's that really about, you or me? Because I was never that person. I was never that little girl. I was never that story, or whatever it is. And that's the thing. No one truly knows the true depth and the feeling and the emotions attached to past versions of ourselves, or even versions in certain moments where we're not our best. And but if we can, like what you say, take that time to sit with it and be like, okay, you know what, that was a bit reactive today, that wasn't the best version of you, but I'm not going to actually hide that. I'm going to really acknowledge that, and I'm going to really go deep into that and just wonder why that unfolded, and not push it onto someone else, but take responsibility for it. And even if it's down to me not giving myself the best self-care, well, actually, Shelley, do you want this version to come out again, or do you want to take care of yourself first so you're full and you can pour into others? So I don't know, that just felt like that's just what came to my mind when you just shared all that.
Yes, I think you said something so important, which is don't hide it, but look at it. And instead of thinking, why did that happen, or feeling ashamed of it, why not look at it from a perspective of love and kindness and trying to understand yourself better, and asking, what did that happen for, and what is it trying to teach me, and how can I move on with that lesson? And I think it just gets more complicated if we try to hide it. And
I think the story we tell ourselves is so much more dramatic, and everyone's gonna think this, and then people are just like, yeah, I've experienced that before too. Oh, like I'm making this huge thing of growing arms and legs, and making this close the cupboard, and really relax, it's fine.
Yes. And also isn't it also our own interpretation of what is a mistake or what is bad or what was, it just happens. What if we just observe it or look at it instead of judging it right away or judging ourselves?
I love that. And something I heard recently, which I thought was really, really powerful, was it's very easy for us in those moments to be like, wow, Shelley, you did really great or something. But why can't we still, like what you said, give that love and compassion when, okay, it's not the version I always want people to see, but actually, do you know what? This is still a part of me, and that's okay. Would you, if your friend came over or something and they're not having the best day, or someone you truly love, be like, do you know what, today I think you need to leave because actually I don't like this version of you. No, you don't just get to pick one aspect and one little segment of that person. That's not love, that's conditional love. So yeah, if you can do that for others and just be like, it's okay, I know you didn't mean to bite my head off or something. You can give that love back to yourself. Wow. I think that's powerful.
I agree, and I think journaling is also so helpful for that because you notice how you speak to yourself. And we're always supportive towards our friends. We always lift them up. We always say, "Hey, it's not that bad. It wasn't a mistake. You can just try again." But when it comes to our own quote unquote mistakes, then we're so harsh and we criticize and judge ourselves so quickly. And journaling helps you to see, how do I actually speak to myself, and can I give that kindness that I give to other people? Can I give that to myself as well?
Absolutely. And just something you said earlier, which my creative mind right now went really like, when you were talking about the inner colors and associate. So my mind straight away thinking, is this like unique to yourself? So is it like, is it an emotion is to a color or something? Or is it literally more a feeling, but you just kind of creatively call it a color? That's all I'm thinking. Because, for example, I love red. Most people could say red is anger, fire, but then it's also passion. It's, for me, like sexuality. It's for me, vibrancy, confidence. So that's why I know there's not probably one answer. It's always unique to the person, but I feel like there's always like a polarity of a color anyway.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I should have said that before. So when I say inner colors, it's actually not really a color. It can be a color, but it's literally a list of words, and it's usually something between 3 or 10 words. And they can have a meaning that's very specific to you. For example, I have a friend, and the first thing that she does when she's traveling, she always goes to visit a library. And it's so normal for her, but looking at it from the outside, it's something that's so her, and she always does that. So one of her inner colors could be library, and it isn't really the word library, it's just the meaning that it has for her. Or for me, it used to be mango, because mango, I love mangoes, and I think that the best mangoes, that I find them in Mexico. So for me, mango represented that dream of following your intuition, and I wanted to live in Mexico, so I just did that. I just packed my bags and I just moved to Mexico and gave it a try, and it worked out. But so mango for me was it in a color of, you can make your dreams come true and you can listen to your intuition, and it's safe to follow your heart. So that then isn't in a color for me. Another one is creative expression, because that's something that I always do. No matter where I am, I always write or journal or sing, or I'm that embarrassing person at the airport when there's a piano. I don't play the piano perfectly, amazing. But I'm that person who sits there and sings a song. So that everything that you are, when you don't have to be anyone or anything, no matter in which cultural context you are, your essence, like the things that you always do, that you need to be you, those are your inner colors.
Beautiful. And just like magic, if we want to call that, you just I recognized it, but some people might not have. You very quickly slipped in there exactly what I wanted to talk to you about, which I notice comes up, not necessarily this terminology, but I notice comes up a lot in your content, by saying, I packed my bag and I just went to Mexico, and I thought, let's see if it works out. Quantum shifting. I think we really need to talk about this. And yeah, this is something I am extremely passionate about, and I'm very excited to speak to you about this, and especially in those times of uncertainty. What signs, like, I know again it's all very unique to the person, but what signs have you noticed someone might experience before a quantum shift or leap?
You feel like it's everywhere. So before I moved to Mexico, I worked in Frankfurt for half a year. I had an office job. I wasn't happy. I walked to work every day because I was trying to save every single euro that I could, so I wasn't spending on public transport. I was just working an hour to work and an hour back. And on that way, so many things happened. Either it was someone, like when I was standing at the traffic light waiting to cross the street, someone was talking in Spanish and talking about Mexico. I remember I was sent on a work trip, and then I arrived at the hotel in Berlin, and there was a magazine on the bed, just like, you know, like the things that you get in the hotel, like just advertisement and everything. So on the cover was Alondra de la Parra, and she's a conductor, a Mexican conductor. So like, or I also remember I picked up someone from the airport in Frankfurt, and then someone held a sign up and it said Mexico. So it was everywhere. It was everywhere. And another moment that really made me think, is that real, was they gave out chocolates at work, and they had just a word on it. Mine was in Spanish, which didn't make sense because it was German chocolates, and it said
exactly.
Yes.
Like everyone's like, yeah, that can happen. We're in Germany right now, guys.
Yeah.
I don't remember Germany and Mexico being very like, yes, we are together right now.
Like so many things that just didn't make sense. And also before the meeting, when I was telling my boss that I was planning to go to Mexico, do you know these yogi teas when they have like a phrase? I don't remember the every time. Yes. So I don't remember the exact phrase.
That person made some powerful intentions before creating those teas.
Yes. I love those teas, and yeah, so I don't remember exactly what the phrase was, but it was something that was what I needed to hear to say that in that meeting. So I think before you're leaping, you feel it's everywhere, and you get that encouragement and you get those signs, and you really, really have to believe in that, because what also comes up is doubt and a feeling of feeling so confused, like nothing makes sense. And that is a good sign as well. But you have to trust more this vision that you have than the doubts. It's almost like the doubts are asking you, do you really believe in that? Do you really think that you can do that? Do you really step up for your dream? So I've experienced that. I don't know about you, like, do you also feel this confusion before you quantum leap?
Well, that's what I was hoping you were going to touch on a little bit, because it sounded very beautiful, like, and I know it always isn't, but you know, like the T and the sign and I was like, okay. I feel like there's another element to this, and for me, this is just my personal experience. It could be just what I'm creating, because obviously we create technically the life we see anyway. But what I've noticed, and I don't feel like I am like saying, hi, keep coming, this is what I want, is it's absolute chaos. Like everything is almost like about to break and dissolve, like even, and okay, people could probably be like, really? But even down to sometimes the house I'm living in will start, like the cupboards would just start break, like really random things, as if to say, you're not going to be here much longer. And of course I fix them, and I don't leave the house, but I'm just like, why is everything breaking? Why, like everything just, it's just the
falling apart.
Most bizarre thing. So speaking on that, because I think there's the signs, there's the inner knowing, there's the chaos. What would your suggestion be? And you might not have been in this position, but I guess we could just think creatively here. What would your suggestion be to, say, someone that's listening and they're like, oh, okay, I don't know. For example, before I was about to go to Bali, which I was never planning to do. Bali, tea, Bali. I was in Dubai and everything Bali. And I was like, and I literally was in this tea house, and it was a rose tea, jasmine tea, barley tea. What? And I said to him, why have you got barley tea? And he's like, I actually don't know. And I was like, what? Anyway, and I went to Bali, was not planning to. But what would you say to people, say, that are key, you know, because I know there's that typical thing of like, you think you want a new car and then you see the new car everywhere, okay? But what would you say if someone is really like noticing the signs, and it doesn't have to always be a new location, it could be a person or something, but let's just say location, because a person isn't necessarily linked to finances, and they're like, but I have no idea how, like I'm not in a position to just put my backpack on and get a fly and maybe have that kind of security of savings or something. Like, what would you say to that? Because I know, like with a quantum leap, a shift, I know things come back round, but it is almost like you need to act on it. So there's like wanting to, and then there's physically maybe not being able to buy that ticket. Or so what would your suggestion be? Wow, there might not even be one. What just comes to mind?
That's a great question.
She's glowing now. Look at her, she's glowing. The sun is out.
I know, the sun just came out. Very important question, the money and abundance mindset question. So everything that I just said, like, I didn't do that with a lot of savings, and I'm probably not the best example for that. And I try to distinguish between like being risk friendly or doing something reckless. And I never go for the reckless, but I do go for the risk friendly. Yeah. And I never had a big safety net, and I was very angry about that. And then in hindsight, I think it was good, because I became the proof that even if you don't have the security, you can still leap, maybe not as much as you would like to, and maybe not go for the biggest option, but you can still make it possible and still try your best to make something possible. So I think the question that I like to take to journaling is, if everything is possible, how is it? And if money wasn't part of the equation, what would I do? Because that gives you the clarity what you really want to do, and you don't let yourself be held back by what is possible or what is not possible. And there is a certain truth to, if you shift, or also just traveling or going somewhere, if you feel this intuition telling you go there, you never know who you are going to meet. You don't know the ideas that are going to find you and that you can monetize. So I would never recommend the completely reckless way, but I would ask what could be something risk-friendly, because you need to leave your comfort zone. You need to step onto new territory. So what can you do to make it possible?
Absolutely. And I guess if we kind of go back, whether you knew that was preparation or not, I think you said something very wise of whether, again, you knew that you were subconsciously doing this, but like just things like you start saving your money instead of going on public transport. So, okay, it might not be now buying that ticket, but would you say something like, you could definitely see how much that ticket would be and how much you need to get in order to position yourself, and whether it's an intention or energetically putting out there that, and again, not playing God and being like, oh, I have to do this, but just show willingness, and then welcoming in the miracles of, okay, I keep seeing, we'll just use Bali as the example because that's what we were saying. I keep seeing Bali coming up. I feel like that's somewhere, I'm feeling called to go. Okay, maybe I could look into the visa. I could see how much, when is the cheapest month, or how long will it take me to save for the flight? Do I know anyone there? Is there a way? Whatever. And then I think, but then also be open to a miracle or something coming in, but have that focus. So I think, yeah, that's really important what you said.
Yeah, I think you can also ask yourself or feel into, like, is your ego buying a ticket, or is you just surrendering to that something that is pulling you to a place, like now with the example of flying somewhere. So if it's this feeling of, yeah, I have to, and like if it's this certain fake arrogance or fake confidence, that never worked out for me. I've been there, I've done that, but it never worked out for me. So, and the other way would be, how can I be true to myself, true to my own inner colors? Is that really something that reflects my own inner colors? Is that something that I know I have to do? And how can I make it possible? How can I show up? It's like stepping on a stage. You prepare, you give everything you can, but then the moment that you step on the stage, you just surrender to that moment, and you surrender to that co-creating with an audience. And that's how I see a lot, actually. That's how I see the decision making as well, or the counting on miracles. I do everything that I can. As you say, you look into visa, you look into when is the cheapest month, or how can I afford this? How can I manage my money well without restricting myself, but just giving some energy to that dream or to that next goal. Yeah. And you do everything that you can, and then you also let go at the same moment and count on the miracles finding you. and trust enough that it will happen.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, I really, really love that. And that makes complete sense. So just because I don't want to use too much more of your time, even though I'm absolutely loving this conversation.
Same.
It's amazing. So how would you, in those times of maybe a breakthrough or something coming, how would you embrace uncertainty and remain grounded?
Also a very important question. I think it's deciding every day. I don't think I have an answer to this is what you have to do. I think it's more check in with yourself what you need. And if there's something that you know will give you confidence and will bring you back to your most confident self, then do that. For me, it's a lot going to a coffee shop. And there was a time when I was feeling guilty for it. And when I said, no, I can't spend so much, like the narrative that we like, if you spend so much money on a latte, you will never buy a house. And then I realized, well, it's actually, it's not my narrative, because for me, the coffee moment is something that inspires me so much and that helps me write and come back to my most confident self. So, but it can also be taking a break, or going for a walk, or that money doesn't have to be involved. So check in with yourself. What do you need? Where is your most confident self, and how can you connect with her?
Absolutely.
And I think the answer changes every single day.
I think that's really important. And going back to particularly whether we want to call it creating our own life, and we really need to think about that, because for example, I this is just what comes to mind with what you expressed. If that time when you had that job and there was just something within you like, this is not what I feel is like my path, my route, and I want to change this. I think as much as possible we have to align with that version or how we imagine our new life. So I can imagine, please correct me if I'm not saying this correctly, but I can imagine that you saw yourself doing your work wherever you wanted, at whatever time you wanted. So actually that little cost, which might be like, oh, but that could be next month's rent or something, was actually you aligning with the life that you wanted. Okay, you wasn't going to a grand place, but you taking your laptop and going to that coffee shop today, or at this time going there, was you actually saying, this is how I want to live my life. And so that cost actually is a significant part of the life I'm creating. Because we could sit in our house and we could count the pennies, but actually we're kind of still creating our own little prison.
Ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know. So I love that. You say ceiling, I say prison. Prison. The mindset here, anyway. But we're talking about not going to the same building every day, having the same job, but then we take our laptop and we do it in the same place. Like, it's obviously different for a podcast. Like, I'm not gonna now go into a coffee shop and be like, excuse me, a podcast
be quiet
is right now. Hi, welcome to Zest Zen. Who does this woman think she is?
Maybe you have a live audience then, could work.
I know. But just imagine, like, in the background, all these people's faces coming through.
You're selling tickets for contending that. No. I know what you mean, and I think it has to do with abundance and with that thought of act like her or act like your future self. And I think that we often misunderstand that as well, because it's not about, okay, I'm going to be my abundant self and I'm just going to spend so much money that I don't have. It's more about you creating that safety with money and knowing that you're shifting energy towards the dream. And also, I remember once I had a client and she said she would love to travel more, but she was struggling with taking a 5-minute break during her workday. Oh, wow. So I asked her, like, how are you going to travel more and have more, like, a week off if you already struggle with 5 minutes? So the question is more like, how can you plant the seeds today? How can you start living like your future self just like a little bit and then make that bigger and bigger and bigger? How can you plant the seeds today and let them grow?
Oh my gosh, I just knew, sorry not to make this about me guys, but anyway, I just knew you were going to come and reveal something that I needed to hear. So, a powerful intention that I particularly have placed in my life is I never planned to do this, but this to me was my freedom to see the world and still be able to be of service and to show up globally, okay? And then, and this talk about in the same room, I'm realizing that's something else I need to push myself out of a little bit more. But the thing that you just said, that was really, really important and significant to me was for probably about 8 months now, I've been carrying around 5 extremely heavy bags, okay? And even like I've had the jokes of like, if you've got your ex-boyfriend in here, like, or you know, sorry, like, but just jokes from men, kind men helping me when there's no elevator going up 144 steps and things. And I sat recently and I, you know, I saw my items, and I'm not a very materialistic person, but I have particularly certain items that when I look at them, they're not just an item, they remind me of like love or of my passion, of my creativity. And I think when we do the little jokes to ourselves, we really need to listen, because often it's actually a big insight. And I was like, oh, you wanted to be like a nomad, and not a nomad, but travel the world, but you're carrying your house around with you. Like, really, like, it's heavy, but it feels heavy. It feels not ease and flow, you know, even down to the buses and something. Like, I'm paying per bag each bus, and you know, like the bus is waiting for me and I'm getting one bag off at a time and I'm sweating, and I just know for you, and I knew this for a while, and I'm prepared, but I have to let them go with love, because I love these glass ornaments, but one, they're glass, they're heavy, and 2, everything is within me anyway. I don't need to carry everything. And actually, that beautiful time and energy I can give to someone else as I leave that country. It's not saying, you know, I'm never going to build. Obviously, eventually I want to have my home, and then I can, you know, travel and come back to my home. But right now, this is what I'm enjoying doing, just hopping from place to place. And yeah, actually, what do you need? What do you need, and what maybe is holding you back a little? And it's not, I can get those bags up the stairs, but do I want to? Is this really actually kind to myself? And I dread that kind of moving each time, and I notice it's anchoring me instead of making me feel more free, which was the whole purpose of seeing the world and traveling. So thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing. And that's so, there's so much to it. So first of all, I don't think it's bad to have a story attached to material things. I think that's important. So it's also not like, maybe you can also take that pressure off yourself to think, oh, I have to sell those things. If they're important to you, maybe there's a way to store them somewhere. But yeah, I think you realize that there is something very heavy about it that is holding you back from being fully free. So maybe it's not even the suitcases or the things, but it's something like, how are you, like, why are you scared to fly? And how are the suitcases just like becoming the picture of that emotion that is actually there?
Well, it's ironic that you should say that. We won't talk too much more about this, because obviously let's stay focused. But I feel like in the unfolding and the storytelling, other people receive what they need to receive from it. And the first time I left my secure apartment and decided to go close to the beach, I'd painted these most like huge paintings, and even actually I wanted to really give one to my mum, and I did them on canvas because I didn't want to have them all bulky, and so I could roll them up and easily transport them. And I kept the month before, I kept thinking, I need to take that back home to my mum. I need to take that back home to my mum. And I didn't do it. And they all went missing on the bus. And I wasn't sad. And that was all. But another ironic thing is when I was in Dubai, a lady has all my paintings in her house. And just as I had the thought about the ornaments, because again, I'm in an Airbnb and I shouldn't just leave things without asking permission whether they want them. I'm just walking and I see a charity shop. I see Red Cross right outside my house. So it's like, actually, you know, you had your lovely time with them. It's an item at the end of the day, and maybe someone else will get more enjoyment and love from it now. So,
yeah, like maybe it belongs now more to someone else than it belongs to you, but that is something that you will feel at the right time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh gosh, this has been that lesson. I could talk to you for hours, and I'm sure we will still stay very connected. You're an absolute gem. But just before, obviously, if there's anything you want to share that you have coming up, or how people can contact you, please use this time now. Is there anything you would like to share?
Just thank you. I've been enjoying this conversation so much, and I took so much inspiration away as well. So thank you for your questions and for the stories and for the space also.
You're so welcome, darling. And are all your books on Amazon or on your website?
Yes.
How can people?
Yes. Yeah, so you find all my books and 2 journals on Amazon and then on my website, which we will probably link in the show notes.
We'll put it all in there. And obviously anything else you want to share, we'll put all in the description. Yeah. So just one final thing for you guys. It doesn't have to be linked to anything that we've said, just off the top of your head. If there was something someone listening right now would really benefit from hearing, what would you tell them?
Keep creating.
Yeah. And if it goes missing, don't worry.
That has become my own slogan. And then if somebody asks me, like, what would you like to say to someone else? I think it's really this: keep creating. No matter what happens, you can always keep creating, and everything happens for you. It happens with love for you. Create art with it. Keep painting. Keep creating your own version of success. And yeah, just that. Keep going. Keep creating.
You're an absolute diamond, and you have most certainly inspired me, and I'm sure so many people that are listening. And yeah, just keep going. And I know book number 10 is not even like a little tiny dent in what you're going to be creating in the world, and I'm really excited for you. Keep shining.
Thank you so much for connecting and co-creating.